Have you ever stopped to think about what really happens as we near the end of our lives? Especially once we're past that significant age of 75. It's a topic many of us shy away from, isn't it? We might talk about our health, our families, or even our past. But discussing the natural end of life often feels like stepping into forbidden territory. This silence, this unspoken reality, can unfortunately leave us feeling unprepared, perhaps even a little scared, about what lies ahead. It's a painful reality that avoiding the conversation doesn't make the journey any less real. It just makes it more shrouded in mystery and fear. But what if I told you there are some profound truths, some hidden insights, that can completely change how you view this final chapter? What if understanding these realities could actually bring you peace, empower you, and help you live your remaining years with even more purpose and joy? In this video, we're going to gently explore 5 hidden truths about death after 75. Crucial insights that every senior truly deserves to know. These aren't scary revelations, but rather perspectives that can help us embrace life fully, right up to the very end. So, settle in, open your heart, and watch to the end for something that will truly surprise you. Let's gently step into our first hidden truth, a reality that often goes unacknowledged, yet, when understood, can bring immense peace and clarity. And that is death. Especially after 75 is rarely sudden and often involves what we might call a long goodbye. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But what about a sudden heart attack or an unexpected turn? And yes, those things can happen, of course, but for a great many. Particularly as our bodies naturally age and our systems become a little more fragile, the path towards the end of life is often a gradual one. It's less like a sudden cliff edge and more like a gentle, sometimes prolonged, slope. Think about it. We see it in our own communities, don't we? Perhaps a loved one starts to slow down, needs more assistance, faces more frequent health challenges, or experiences a gradual fading of energy and cognitive sharpness. It's not a dramatic collapse, but a slow, often gentle, decline. This understanding isn't meant to be morbid, quite the opposite. It's incredibly liberating, because if we understand that there's often a long goodbye, it transforms our perspective. It means there's time to say the things we need to say, to mend fences, to share stories, to experience joy in simpler moments, to offer comfort, and to receive it. It means we have an opportunity to truly be present, not just in the big events, but in the quiet, ordinary days that become so precious. It allows families to come together, to support each other, and to cherish the remaining time, rather than being plunged into sudden shock and regret. I remember a dear friend whose grandmother, well into her 90s, had a gradual decline over a couple of years. It wasn't a series of crises, but a slow lessening of her physical abilities, though her spirit and humor remained. Because the family understood this long goodbye, they weren't caught off guard. They had time to gather, to play her favorite old records, to look through photo albums, to simply sit by her side holding her hand. They prepared meals she enjoyed, adapted her environment for comfort, and talked openly about her life, her wishes, and their love. When she finally passed, it was peaceful, surrounded by love, and without the frantic, regretful feeling of, if only we had more time. They had been given that time, and they had used it wisely, not to mourn what was lost, but to celebrate what remained. This truth, that the end is often a gentle, drawn-out process, allows us to lean into compassion, both for ourselves and for our loved ones, and to use the time we have with intention and love. It shifts the focus from dread to connection, from shock to acceptance, now, flowing seamlessly from that understanding of a gradual transition. Let's explore our second hidden truth. You have far more control over your end-of-life experience than you might ever imagine. This is a powerful, empowering truth, because many people, perhaps ourselves included, feel that as we age, we lose control, that our fates are entirely in the hands of doctors, institutions, or just plain luck. But when it comes to the end of our lives, that simply isn't true. You see, modern medicine and legal frameworks have given us tools to express our wishes, to guide our care, and to shape the environment in which we spend our final days or months. This is where concepts like advance directives come into play. Things like living wills and durable powers of attorney for healthcare. These aren't just legal documents. They are your voice, speaking clearly when you might no longer be able to. They allow you to specify what kind of medical treatment you want or don't want, how much intervention you'd prefer, and even where you'd like to be, whether that's in a hospital, at home, or in a hospice setting. Imagine having the peace of mind knowing that your preferences for comfort care, for pain management, for being surrounded by certain music or pictures, are all clearly understood and honored. This isn't about giving up. It's about taking charge of your own journey, ensuring that your dignity and desires are respected right to the very end. I recently heard a story about a gentleman named Arthur, who at 85 was diagnosed with a serious illness. Instead of despairing, he saw it as an opportunity to plan. He sat down with his children and, with remarkable clarity, discussed his wishes. He wanted to remain at home, surrounded by his extensive collection of classic jazz records, and he wanted his family to prioritize comfort over aggressive treatments. He completed his advance directives, appointed his eldest daughter as his healthcare power of attorney, and even picked out the photos he wanted displayed in his room. Because he had taken control, his last few months were spent in peace, listening to his beloved music, surrounded by family, exactly as he wanted. His passing, when it came, was not a chaotic medical event, but a deeply personal, dignified farewell, orchestrated by his own foresight and wishes. This truth empowers us to ensure our final chapter reflects our lives, our values, and our personal definition of peace. It's about conscious choice, not passive acceptance, building on the power of taking control of our own journey. Let's turn our attention to something incredibly precious and often profoundly illuminated in our later years: our relationships. Our third hidden truth is this: your relationships become even more vital, perhaps more so than at any other point in your life. In our younger years, we're often caught up in careers, raising families, building, and striving. Social connections might be abundant, but sometimes superficial. As we age, especially as we approach the twilight years after 75, there's a natural shedding of the less essential, and what remains often gleams with immense value. This is the time when genuine connections truly shine. The laughter with an old friend, the quiet comfort of a long-term partner, the affectionate touch of a child or grandchild. These moments become the bedrock of our existence. You might find that old grudges begin to fade, replaced by a yearning for reconciliation and understanding. There's an innate human need for connection, for belonging, for love to be given and received. And this need often intensifies as we face our own mortality. It's not just about having people around you. It's about the quality of those connections. It's about reflecting on who truly brings joy, who offers solace, and who makes your life feel rich and meaningful. I remember hearing about a woman named Eleanor, who, in her late 80s, realized she had harbored a decades-long resentment towards her younger sister over a long-forgotten family squabble. As her own health began to decline, she felt an overwhelming urge to reconnect, to shed that burden. With trepidation, she called her sister. What followed was a hesitant conversation that slowly blossomed into tearful apologies and shared memories, culminating in a beautiful reconciliation. For the remaining few years of Eleanor's life, she and her sister shared a bond deeper and more loving than they ever had before. That reconciliation brought Eleanor profound peace, lifting a weight she hadn't fully realized she was carrying. It's in these final chapters that we often find the courage to express our deepest feelings: gratitude, love, forgiveness, not just for others, but for ourselves too. So, reach out, mend those fences, tell people what they mean to you, and don't be afraid to accept the love and support that's offered. These connections are not just comforting, they are fundamental to living our richest, most fulfilling final years. They provide the emotional and spiritual scaffolding that supports us through life's biggest transition. Now, as we ponder the profound importance of our relationships, it's natural for our minds to drift towards the very heart of the matter: the unknown. This brings us to our fourth hidden truth, one that can be immensely freeing once we grasp it often. The fear of the unknown far outweighs the fear of death itself. Think about it. When we talk about death, what exactly are we afraid of? Is it the cessation of life, the not being, or is it more about the process, pain, loneliness, losing control? What happens immediately after? Or perhaps what happens to those we leave behind? For many, it's the not knowing that truly creates anxiety. The human mind craves certainty. We like to plan, to anticipate, to understand. And death, by its very nature, is the ultimate unknown. Will it be painful? What will it feel like? Where do we go? What will happen to my essence, my consciousness? These are questions that have puzzled humanity for millennia. This fear of the unknown can manifest as a subtle, persistent anxiety, or for some, as profound dread, but recognizing that it's often the unknown aspect, rather than death itself, that troubles us, gives us a place to start working through it. How do we approach this unknown for many? It comes through faith, through spiritual beliefs that offer comfort and a sense of continuity. For others, it's through philosophical reflection, accepting the natural cycle of life and finding peace in the present moment. It can also come from open, honest conversations with loved ones, with spiritual advisors, or even with a therapist. Talking about our fears, giving them voice, can often diminish their power. We can focus on what we do know and what we can control, ensuring comfort, spending time with loved ones, leaving things in order, and living with purpose each day. I know of a gentleman, John, who in his early 80s struggled with immense anxiety about death. He wasn't afraid of dying, he said, but of the void, of what came next, or if anything came next. He started attending a weekly discussion group at his local community center, where people openly talked about life's big questions. He also began a daily meditation practice, focusing on gratitude for the present moment. Slowly, by acknowledging his fears and engaging in these reflective practices, John found a profound sense of peace. He realized that while the ultimate unknown would always remain, he could find comfort in his beliefs, in his connections, and in truly living each day without the burden of that specific anxiety. His fear didn't vanish entirely, but it transformed into a quiet acceptance, allowing him to experience his later years with greater joy and less apprehension. Understanding this truth empowers us to address our anxieties head-on, seeking comfort and clarity in our own unique ways, and ultimately, finding a deeper peace. As we explore the terrain of the unknown, let's bring our journey to a deeply comforting and ultimately empowering final hidden truth, one that redefines what truly matters as we contemplate our departure. Leaving a meaningful legacy isn't about money. It's about shared stories, cherished memories, and the values you've lived by for so long. We're conditioned to think of legacy in terms of material wealth, properties, or grand achievements. And while those things certainly have their place, they often don't capture the true essence of the mark we leave on the world and, more importantly, on the hearts of those around us. True legacy Particularly after 75 isn't measured in bank accounts or possessions. It's measured in the warmth of a memory, the ripple effect of a kind word, the wisdom passed down through a story told around the kitchen table, or the strength of character that inspired someone else. It's about the values you embodied: integrity, resilience, compassion, humor, generosity, and how those values continue to live on through your children, grandchildren, and friends. It's the unique imprint you leave on the fabric of other people's lives. Think about the people who have profoundly influenced you. Was it always the wealthiest among them, or was it the teacher who believed in you, the grandparent who shared unforgettable tales, the friend who always offered a listening ear, or the neighbor whose kindness was unwavering? Their true legacy wasn't what they owned, but who they were, and how they made you feel, and the lessons they imparted. This understanding is incredibly liberating. It means that every single one of us, regardless of our financial standing or worldly accomplishments, has the power to leave an incredibly rich and enduring legacy. It's about being present, sharing your life experiences, talking about your triumphs and your struggles, and offering your unique perspective. It's about ensuring your stories, your family's history, and your personal values are not lost to time. Perhaps it's writing down your life story, even in small snippets, or creating a photo album with captions that explain the significance of each picture. Maybe it's simply spending quality time with your grandchildren, teaching them a skill, or telling them about the world as you've experienced it. I remember a woman named Martha, who lived in a small cottage and had very little in terms of material wealth. But her cottage was always filled with laughter. Her porch was a gathering place, and her mind was a treasure trove of stories from her childhood, her travels, and her adventures. She spent countless hours sharing these tales with her grandchildren, teaching them old recipes, and showing them how to mend things with care and patience. When Martha passed, her family didn't inherit a vast fortune, but they inherited something far more precious: a rich tapestry of memories, a deep understanding of their roots, and a clear sense of the values she held dear. Her legacy wasn't in what she left behind, but in what she shared and instilled. This hidden truth empowers us to focus on the things that truly matter, cultivating a legacy that will continue to resonate long after we are gone. Through the lives we've touched, it's about leaving echoes of love, wisdom, and character that will enrich generations. So, we've gently explored these 5 profound truths today. We've talked about how the journey often involves a long goodbye, giving us precious time for connection and reflection. We've uncovered the empowering reality that you have more control over your end-of-life experience than you might imagine. Through thoughtful planning and expressing your wishes, we've embraced the vital truth that our relationships deepen and become even more precious in our later years, urging us to cherish and mend those crucial bonds. We've confronted the often unspoken truth that fear of the unknown can be more daunting than death itself, encouraging us to seek peace through faith, reflection, and open conversation. And finally, we've understood that leaving a meaningful legacy isn't about material wealth, but about the enduring power of your shared stories, your cherished memories, and the values you've lived by. Remember, understanding these truths isn't about dwelling on the inevitable, but about empowering ourselves to live our remaining years with profound peace, purpose, and joy. It's about replacing fear with knowledge and silence with connection. Small shifts in perspective can truly make an immeasurable difference to your peace of mind and overall well-being as you navigate this precious chapter of life. I truly hope that this conversation has brought you some comfort, some clarity, and perhaps even some renewed sense of purpose. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these truths. Have any of these resonated with you? What are your own experiences or perspectives on these topics? Please share your wisdom and your feelings in the comments below. Your insights are invaluable, and they help build a community of understanding and support. If you found this video helpful or uplifting, please give it a thumbs up, a like, as it helps more people find this important information. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. We are committed to bringing you more content designed to help you live your best life at every age, with wisdom, joy, and vitality. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Live your best life, cherish every moment, and know that your journey is uniquely yours, filled with dignity and meaning, right to the very end.